You ready? We're all good. Thank you.
That's really good news for all of us.
Yeah. Hold on, I'll come down.
Oh, it's too bad.
Should be in here. We're ready.
Ready? Are we online?
We are recording.
I'd like to call the meeting to order at 10:06. If we'd all stand, remove our hats, and for the pledge of the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Family.
Gracious God, we ask that you lead us in this meeting today. Help us with the decisions that we have to make. Give us wisdom to do what's right. Protect each and every one that's here on our way home. We ask prayers for our board members and our staff and every one of our community seniors. Please watch over all of us, be with us, and walk with us. In Jesus' name, I pray.
Roll call, please.
Treasurer Ronald Lynch.
Here.
Director Leroy Pinder. Director Ty Damon. Director Pam McKinnon. President Phil Potter.
Here.
Vice President Dolores Schlicker. Secretary Robert Turek present. And we have Director Lori Cesny is
Excused absence.
excused absence. And Director Kelly Von Fintel.
With family member down.
Family. So both excused absences.
Personal issues.
And also member at large Commissioner Carolyn Brumman.
So you have the agenda in front of you. We need an approval of the agenda if there's modifications or changes.
I'd like to add one thing. I'd like Kevin Friddle, our investment advisor, is here who asked for a few minutes to speak. So I'd like to put him at the first presentation.
Okay. All in favor? Or-
I make the motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second the motion. Motion. Motion by McKinnon, second by Queen, to approve the agenda as rewritten. So all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approval of the minutes from your May 27th meeting.
I think we have a mistake on that.
We have to speak up during here. We have to.
I think there's a mistake on that under the public comment at the end of the meeting.
Can't hear you.
At the end of our meeting, it says that Larry King was spoke, and then it says John King spoke, and I'm thinking that that's a mistake. That John King, is it?
That is an error.
Okay. That's the only thing I had.
Our lights aren't working.
I think we're all going to have to be yelling.
Yep, good closing, sorry.
Should we shut some more fans off? Would that help?
No, yes, our
No, gosh, no, gosh, no. You can yell. Find out.
Okay, we have a motion.
Can you hear us when we talk like
Yes,
this?
yes.
Second the motion.
We're having a hard time hearing on the video as well. I think we should turn some fans off
They don't want to.
or turn them down.
These just don't even work. It has nothing to do with the fan.
We could just hardly hear.
Well, we can't turn the fans off due to the weather. The people are, yeah. We'll just have to yell,
Here on a good day.
or they'll have to move forward a little bit.
Right? Talk like as close as you can into that end piece.
Power wasn't on. Can you try it now?
These mics must not be working. Okay, we have a motion by McKinnon, seconded by Damon, to approve the agenda or the minutes from our May meeting.
That's correct.
As amended. Do we have all in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, we have visitors in the crowd. You have 2 minutes per person. If you'd like to speak, state your name and your township and stand and address the board, please. We do not answer questions. We take your recommendation. Is there anybody that'd like to speak? Kevin, you wanna? Is that Kevin's turn? or not?
At the end of presentations.
Oh, Kevin's coming, okay. Fran, would you like to speak to the board about what we talked about yesterday? Stand up, please, announce your name and move up.
Fran Hall. Here you go.
Carry on.
And I have no internet. I have nothing. And the water is horrible. Smell. And the grass there is nasty. Well, we don't have grass.
Yeah, well, you have, right now.
It's got too many ticks and this and that in the lawn. Make trenches. We want something done. We're not paying a rent. This is like it is.
Thank you. I was up there yesterday, just so the board can hear what the issues were. The weeds are quite long. There's water runoff. There's trenches by house number 6. That is not, I would not want it next to my house. And the water has a sulfur smell in house number 6. Nobody else has said anything about their water. It is in 2, and it's in yours also. So we have to remedy that.
Can I get all three of those?
Sure.
Okay. So, on the water, what's going on is we're gonna have to switch the anode in the hot water tank. And so it's not like when you go to the cold water, and they're gonna check with us, check only the cold. Okay, run only the cold, and you should have no sulfur smell. Okay, so long as that is the case, which I think it will be, we have to change the anode in the hot water heater. It has a silver component. There's a different anode, and that will prevent the creation of sulfur gas. So it's no big deal. Costs $20, takes 10 minutes, and they're going to tell me for sure. And so long as I know there's no, because I know we're not getting it at any. It's the same water in the building, and we're not getting any sulfur smell. So I'm 99% sure it's the hot water heater anode. Easy fix.
Can that be fixed today?
I don't know. I'd have to see I'd have to see if I can get the anodes, But it's what you can do is if you run enough of the hot water, the gas will dissipate, So what happens, like at our house, before we changed them, if we were gone for a week, we would come back and get this hot. That's how I even learned about this, So since I've changed my hot water anodes to the silver based, we don't have it anymore, ever, So it should be should be an easy fix, and we'll get on it. So for the topsoil and everything, there's a huge topsoil pile, and I was trying to kind of do it all at one time, right? But we can start like where you are in number 6. We're going to have a defined channel.
I'm number 6, right?
You're at 6.
I'm number 6. You're right. I want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
I'm in the 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
So where she is in SIPs, we're going to have a defined channel. I'm going to put a thick mat in there. It's a certain kind of filter mat. We're going to cover it with stone, and that will be a permanent channel for the water during a heavy rain. So I can get on it. You know, I've been trying to just not have Jake's come out and do the residential and then do the building, but we're really close, so we can start the process. I'll call Jake's, and the next step is we're going to get out there. We'll fine tune the grade, then we'll bring in the topsoil, then we'll kind of get on. You know, but the thing is that we planted all the bushes last year, and then the deer ate. And then now, even on the main building, it's too hot. We really can't plant. We won't be able to plant bushes till the fall, but we will get in there. And then the Wi-Fi. So they've done all the underground. So we have all the underground cables. Like if you look at next to the transformer, you'll see a green pedestal, and that is the Wi-Fi. That's the cable and everything. And when I was talking to the guy who did that, let's say a week ago roughly, he said the guy would be right behind him. And so he told everyone, you know, we were all out there. So it's coming. You know, I hate to tell you, we actually have Wi-Fi and everything in the main building, right? So we're active. And
The guy from the underground told me that they got Jake working.
Hang on.
yeah. So yep. So I don't know. It's kind of in a way outside of my control. I know I'm on it. There's nothing I have to do. They're supposed to be there. So we'll make some calls and just see. I know on the main building, we had a couple of these things where one crew came in and done something, and then like a couple of weeks went by, another crew, but then they got it fired up, you know. So you're very close to internet. In the short term, if you've got you know, even at our house, I mean, we hotspot, you know, for the computers and for what have you. And I built the whole building on what's called an Orbix. So
Okay, we're on it. That's fine. Stand and get your up, just word.
Okay. Well, that hotspot thing costs you runs you. I
Yeah,
got
speak up more.
$250 into it. That hotspot. And less than 2 months. Which I didn't realize. They only give you so many gigs. And if you go over, it's like double. My bill was $250. We don't even watch at night. Watch a couple hours.
I tell you, change your plan, because there's plenty of unlimited plans for $49.99. You know, so whatever plan you got, I think you got to check that. But AT&T, yeah, this time you're getting ripped off. I mean, that's just, you know, there's so many unlimited plans out there that whatever is going on, I can tell you, I run the whole job off a hotspot for $20.
Well, I think the ripoff was not knowing that we didn't have it.
Well, the again, I can't force Spectrum to get out there. You know, I'm on it anytime I've got to do something. It's done. And right now, you know, anytime I get an email to respond to, I'm on it. You know, so
Okay.
but I cannot force Spectrum to get out there. You know, that's,
No, but before plan, myself, I never knew there was no cable or anything there until after I had already paid.
All right,
yeah.
we'll address that issue too. We'll
The
address it for you.
there's always a little bit of growing pains. You know, the first you guys are the first renters, and they're you know, for the next 50 years this will not be a problem. So.
Yeah, sir, you have it. Go ahead, stand, address the board. Okay, you can sit. You can sit. Sit down.
You know what my situation is. My name's Vince Guy, and I live in Los Angeles. And I have been paying rent on number 4 unit since May. I just moved in because I don't have Spectrum, and I got to give phone jacks for my monitor, for my pacemaker, and I need it for my medical guardian. I need those. And I can't move in. They told me July 1st, but I don't see any sign of anything happening.
I think for this gentleman, given the real importance, we should just get an Orbix. You know, we can, yeah, I think we could go ahead and just set them up on a, you know, perfectly good Wi-Fi orbit system in the short term.
I'm Cindy. I'm a rescue on his daughter. And I've been very involved in what's going on for him. But I don't understand if he just has Wi-Fi and doesn't give him the phone line that he needs to have. So yes, he needs Wi-Fi, but he needs a landline. He has to hook into a landline for his pacemaker and for his medical guardian that is, you know, calls kind of thing. But he also has to have Wi-Fi because he can't hear, so he has to do a transcription device on his phone. He relies on all of it, so he can't just like link.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Ty?
Andy, you got a million things to deal with over there. I would like to take on the ball of designated pests for Spectrum. I just need the information on your phone and the information on running the cable. I understand what's needed. They need this cable for that box of units. And, you know, we work on 1,000 other things to get father Spectrum.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I'll just give you the file. And it's really disturbing from my personal position because when I talk to a guy on the job site, he's out there working and he tells me the next day we're going to be hooking it up. You know, it's just.
So, like I said, you want to take over?
I'm asking for the information to allow me to say I'm calling the ACCOA. Our people told us to be ready. We have something for that condition. It's unacceptable. It's going to be done tomorrow, right? No? Okay. Who's your boss?
Okay. Thanks, Ty. Is there any other? Yes, ma'am?
Ray White, bungalow number 3 on Plymouth 9. Just a simple concern. When I back up on my garage, it's real tight right here, 24 and 5. And I would like the big stones to be removed, especially when the winter comes and there's ice.
You need that. We'll get the when we're out. We'll have a machine that can do that when we're moving the topsoil. So we'll work with you, and we'll get them situated. I know exactly what you're talking about. We put them there partly so that the snow plows wouldn't get crazy and drive around. But I know exactly what you're talking about. So we'll just get them situated where it works well.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Lexi O'Leary, number 5, Bel Air, number 6. The only reason why that happens is I'm part of that alluvial fan that goes through between the back of her house and the side of mine. So if I have no problem putting a bunch of rocks there myself because it takes me how long it's going to take to get fixed, and I could make my own kind of channel. Not this weather, but I can do it probably like in another day or two. I can get out there and do it, but I don't want to do it and then have someone like your crew be like, "Oh, that was nice work. The big machine can take all my hard work away." So I don't want to do that. First of all. Second of all, whatever grass was planted, if that's called grass, okay, I was gonna say, 'cause there's no grass. There's like little spurts of weeds that do collect those ticks and those big spiders, of which fortunately I'm not terribly afraid of. So I've only killed like 8 different breeds. Not 8 different breeds, which means there's way more than one of each of those breeds. So that pesting needs to definitely happen.
Yeah.
And the Wi-Fi thing, obviously this issue is far more paramount of importance than mine. Although I can work from home, I have the choice of working from home or my office. When I got this place, I did think that would be a great alternative for my situation, which is just way more private than anybody needs to know. But I have to be, so I have a choice. So the neglect of that has been a problem. I can appreciate what Mark's saying, just because it's like extra expense you weren't expecting. It's like extra hassle you weren't expecting. And when you think you're going to move into this beautiful home, which they are beautiful, and they are wonderful, and the air conditioning works wonderful. So I mean, you can sit there and complain all you want, but while you're writing your list, you're not sweating. Okay, you're nice and cool. So there are some, let's look at the glass half full, not half empty. But
this is just me reiterating it for them. Other than that, I'm very pleased about how all the whole layout is. I don't have a sulfur smell, but I do buy my own water, so I don't know if I just haven't run into it for that reason. Maybe that's the reason why.
The sulfur smell is connected to the amount of use of the hot water. If you use a lot of hot water, you're just not going to accumulate that sulfur smell. So it's a little bit. But we can, once we get in there, we'll change them all. Yeah,
So, like I told Ms. Hoffman, that we can't correct it if we don't know about it. And her and I met yesterday, and I told her that I would let the board know, today, and you folks are here. So we have that issue, and we'll get it addressed. We'll get taken care of. So
Phil, earlier we were chatting. There's a lot of spiders back there, and Frank Bono, he's the spray master, right? We sprayed the whole building, and so we'll get back there and spray the houses, and that should take care of. But if we make arrangements, if he gets into the crawl space, especially, and then gets on the outside, then boom, the spider problem will go away.
And then there's a couple trees back here that I noticed that are dead, and the branches could fall.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to address that.
Yeah, we'll get that one back there with the guys.
Okay.
So what we'll do is just to conclude, so we'll get on. We'll change out all of the anodes just to do it in all the houses. We'll spray all the houses. Ty's gonna take lead position on Spectrum. Which if you knew how many hours I got with those guys, I mean, I'm not kidding. Like 100 hours on the phone with these guys. You just sit there for an hour. So it's been one of the most frustrating things. So believe me, I get it. You want internet. I wish we had it. I've done everything I can do to get it. And when the guys in the job site promise me 2 days and then it's 2 weeks, it just gets irritating, but I get it. So that's that. And then the last one, we will start the process of grading. I wouldn't make any change. We've got it engineered how that channel is going to go. So we will get the channel under control, and then we'll get the topsoil going, and then we'll actually spray. We're going to probably use a what's the word, Phil? The green stuff to spray the
pesticide.
No, for the seeds, for the grass. No.
Anyway.
Yeah.
We know what you're. We'll get her going.
The sprays.
Right. We'll get her taken care of.
So they have grass, because it's gonna be wild for the grass seeds.
Yeah, it takes a little bit, but sod, I can give you a whole bunch of reasons. We stopped using sod a long time ago. When you spray the other stuff, the sod just doesn't work, So.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other members in the audience that want to address the board? Okay, then I'm going to close the public comment, and we're going to move to presentation. And according to the amendment, Kevin Friddle, if you would like to address.
Good morning. Carolyn, do you mind if I use your phone here?
I do not mind.
Thank you. So, the secretary has asked me to come and address the board regarding the investments and the money from the building fund specifically that we have. And again, Kevin Friddle and I'm affiliated with New York Life Securities. So we had monies transferred from a somewhat risky stock portfolio to New York Life. And that amounted to $6,364,900 and a few cents. So that amount was transferred. After that transfer, we invested in some bond funds, and so Bob had asked me to talk to you about that total amount and what that looks like and what we made on that amount over the past 3 years. So if anybody would like, I've got five packets. I didn't expect to.
I'll grab one if you don't mind. Someone kind of brought that up.
Anybody else would like to see that?
I can share mine.
I take the big one. I take the big one.
It's actually in the order. Have one?
I didn't write it up, I'm sorry.
One of us, I'm just gonna sit next to Andy over here. And I'll see exactly what my share.
So on the first page, I actually have the back part of the page that shows the two transfers that came in, that amount was $6.3 million. So on the next page is the total amount of interest income that we have received, less any expenses and changes in the value of the investments over the past 3 years. So that total amount added up to $321,675.64. And I can break that down. In 2023, we had $148,494.32. 2024, we ended the year and we received $169,802.28. And this year, we moved to cash early on, but we still made $3,379 this year. Totally $321,675 with little to no risk. So the key was, the most important thing to understand from my perspective is we took, for a public organization, we were not invested correctly. So we got out of the stock market. We went into some bonds that were very safe. Now they do still fluctuate in value, but they're very safe. And in doing that, over the past 2.5 years, and 3 years, again, $321,675.64. Was there anything else that you wanted, or anything specific you wanted to hear from me about the building fund and how that was invested?
Okay, I think Andy has a question.
So if you were to take the available balance on, say, on a monthly accrued basis, and I were to back these out, where did we end up roughly at an interest rate? So did you get about 3%, 2, 1? Where did I do the math on that? And that should be too hard to.
The investments ran around 6%, but the last year we had some fluctuation. I would guess somewhere between 4.5 to 5%.
So that's the thing. So this is where I like, and I'm sure it's all fine. It's just something that when I do that, right? So I basically knew how much money we had in the account, round numbers, and I threw an estimated interest to it, and then my Excel schedule just did a monthly, all rough. And so I was thinking that we should have more than we had. And so I just want to see, because if the way I see it, if we're at like 3%, and again, it doesn't change reality, right? We are, whatever happened. And so I just want to make sure all of our accounting is straight. But I just want to see, because you just do 5% on 6, that's 30,000, right? So, no, wait. Yeah, no. 10%. Yeah. Go ahead, Ty.
I think Kevin made a nice presentation. I'm comfortable with a safe investment of 5%. I think that's a very good job. It is what it is. How we got here was explained. I think that's what everything.
And originally that first year we were in CDs specifically, and then we found a way to make a little better interest, so we made some moves.
Okay, thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. Easy peasy. If you have any questions, anybody else, I'm happy to answer those.
Thank you. So,
Thank you, Kevin.
thank you, Kevin. Talk to him on the side.
Can you hang out and talk to Andy?
Andy, you're next.
Sounds good. So we kind of covered the residential. Just a quick recap on that. We'll hit the water. We'll keep working on the Wi-Fi. We'll start we'll work our channeling, and we'll address the spiders, and we'll get the topsoil going. Topsoil in the seed. For the building itself, so this week we've got later today, we have final electric on the kitchen. We have final mechanical, which is about 4 different items on Thursday. It would be the fire suppression of the hood, the actual hood, the recovery air in the kitchen, the cooler, and the plumbing. So Thursday, most of the day will be inspections for the mechanical and plumbing and fire for the kitchen. And then if all that goes well, Friday morning at 10, we have the health department coming in, and if everything is good, they will issue our commercial kitchen license, right? The right to operate the kitchen. And so that's a huge one, right? So now we can operate in that facility. So then that's that component. We have a series of other finals. So when you go to the offices, we just got a couple of things. The game room, we're kind of doing our finals room by room on all the normal thing: electrical, plumbing, heating, and the building. And so, but then for the overall, before we can occupy the building, we've got our other line of inspections, which is all things fire suppression. So it's our fire alarm, it's our flow test, it's our pump test, and some other ones. And so those are all scheduled as well. And the final day of inspections for that, which is where we would have our final, we trip the alarm, and then it's got a certain amount of time to communicate. We actually just had Lenny over from the sheriff's department, and so we've got this time to kind of show at Main Station. So that is scheduled for July 7th, Monday, July 7th. Now, if we pass that, then we would be able to occupy the building on July 8th. So that would be unconditional. We would be. So that's where we are. We've got dozens of inspections scheduled and going on. And if we just had certain people who are just in, but if you go room by room right now, it's really just, a light fixture here, some caulking there. We're like 99.8% done in the building. Just little, we've even got we've got tissues set out on the tables, we're like right there. And then on the outside, TRC is supposed to be there right now. We've got some flashing on the top. We've got the FE decors on site right now. They're just doing the trim on the upper roof above the dining, putting gutters on and what have you. They've got about a week's worth of work. So by this Friday, all of the exterior should be done. And then we're going to put the flagpole footing in, but where it is, it blocks access. We got to finish these items. Then we're going to put our footing in for the flagpole. Then we got to wait about 5 days, and then we'll put the flagpole up. So we'll have the flagpole before our grand opening, maybe not by the 7th or 8th, so that's coming. And then as soon as all that work's done, then I'm going to put the topsoil down. We're actually going to have a river stone perimeter around the building about 2 feet wide. You never want the grass going right to the building. So then we'll put our topsoil down, and really we won't be able to plant shrubs until fall. It's just too hot and they'll die. So unless we had someone watering every day. So we're just going to wait on that front. And then the other thing after that is the final asphalt. But again, we just want to make sure we got everything. We'll do our final asphalt and go on any construction whatsoever. Then lastly, we got, so like on the gym, for instance, the only thing to do is to core and put in the stanchions that hold the nets. That was scheduled, we postponed it. So we've got an issue on the pickleball courts, and it's a tough deal because what happened is the architect purposefully drew the courts askew to this center curtain. And if I ever knew about it, I forgot about it. And he did that purposefully to have a safe distance to the glass and to these steel columns, a distance of 8 feet. So I happened to be walking through when the guys painted the lines, And he says, hey man, you know, it's you're really close to the curtain on one side. You got a lot of room on the other side. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. And we happened to be perfectly, the way the dimensions worked, we were perfectly centered side to side. We happened to go 8 feet, just how it worked out. So I look at it and I go, yeah, it don't make any sense. We should split the difference. So I authorized what is about 5'6" to one side and about 5'6" to the other. Well, that's not going to work. So the cost to redo the entire gym, they just told us a long time ago, like as a warning, it's 50 grand, right? So I talked to Kuhn today and explained what happened. He goes, because I'm going to have to cover this myself. This is clearly talking to the architect, and it's something I know. I had no authority to move those lines. Okay, that's not shouldn't have done it, no better, but I did. So guys, it should be 20 grand, because what happened, I'm going to do it for 10 grand. So the question on this thing was, do we leave these lines where they are, subpar? And I don't think we can. Because, go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. I mean, this was an honest mistake. We fix it. How can you do something that complicated and not have one thing? And it really started with the architects putting that wall where it shouldn't have been. So it doesn't matter how we got it.
Yeah.
Bob and I and our wives said, let's not debate this. Let's get a pickleball net, learn good shoes on, go play. It is not playable the way it is.
Yeah.
So we just need to fix it.
Yeah. So the short of it is, and this is what's just like, I look at how it happened, right? It was, I'm walking a guy gets my attention. He points something out. I'm like, yeah, it'll make sense. Make it center. 10 grand in about 5 seconds. So, which should be 20. But anyhow, the architect was definitive, right? Because we can't leave those lines, because someday in the future, someone not knowing plays it, you know, so it's got to be done. So the short of it is, we're going to bring Kuhn back. And you have no idea how distressing this is, right? It's just like to put so much work into making something so beautiful, and just the dust alone, because I've been a super freak on not having any dust going into that thing. And the thought of like grinding it up is killing me, you know, but it just got to get done. So that's where we are. We just got to grind them and fix it. It's a 7-day process, and that's it.
Okay, thank you. So
I would just add to that, Ty and I kind of made a list of 4 potential fixes, and I haven't had a chance to talk to Andy or Ty yet to see what the best fix is. I would say I really appreciate Andy, you know, saying, okay, this is a problem, we're going to fix it. It might be a blessing in disguise that we might be able, several of the ideas might make it even better than the original design. So I'm going to try to keep that in mind. It might end up even better.
And then I've so right now, again, purposefully, the architect skewed the placement of the curtain away from the basketball courts, right? So it's offset towards the pickleball courts. He's looking at whether or not it is possible at a price about $6,000 to move the curtain. But the architect's not sure that there's all these subsequent things, right? And Jonathan is always very careful before he throws anything out. So they're looking at it, and they're not sure, because ultimately they have the responsibility, you know. So long, that's always thing. It's one of these things, like if I've got one tattoo in my brain, and I tell people all the time, once you hire the architect, I don't have the authority to do something, right? I have to build it as it's drawn, unless you go through a sequence. You issue a change order. There's a whole process to make that happen. And so anyhow, Jonathan is he's analyzing the wisdom of moving the curtain. That's being contemplated. So now he may come back and say we can't, or he may come back and say we can't. we'll just see what happens.
So just so we all are on the same page, I'd like to see you get a hold of Bob and Ty and myself, whoever else on this board, and go get that solution. So we're all on the same page, even if it's a couple of members of the pickleball group.
So what we'll do is we're kind of just right there. We'll see. Ultimately, Jonathan will, our architect, Jonathan Lee, will decide what options are viable options, you know, and then
Jonathan will issue new drawings, correct?
no, he's already issued the drawing. I just didn't make it to his drawing. If you look at his drawing precisely, what we're really going to do is redo it to his drawing.
That's why
It's we're talking foot one way or the other. I go to green, we redo it to his drawings. His drawings, I believe, having played there, were too tight to begin with. Not as bad as it is now. But if you're gonna move something 2 feet, move it 3 feet.
Right.
So let's just I would like to ask that
I like
drawing, whether it's an architect drawing or an line drawing, be shown to Bob.
I think I'm with you. I think what we should do, and I'm going to request, is I'm going to have Jonathan come to town. There's nothing better when you're playing an inch, like on a drawing, you can't see at this scale, you can't even see a foot, you know, unless it's dimensioned. So I think we should really bring Jonathan to town. We should all meet on site. And then I know him. He will not give us a probably final answer at that moment. But still, there's nothing like laying tape measures on the ground, getting a feel. So, but I think you can rest. We'll follow a process where it's both legal from an architectural perspective and preferable. We're not going to get to ideal, but we're going to get to safe and as good as we can get. You know, that's one thing. Like, you know, ideally, Phil and I were walking just real quick. We were if we really could have unlimited anything, we would have made the huge building even huger, right? We would have had 20 feet here and 20 feet there, but you know.
Okay.
I have a quick question. Is that going to interfere with us moving into our kitchen and using our offices?
No, you might see me walking in circles, going like this, but that's about it.
Okay. Thanks, Andy.
Mr. President, if I could, I just ran some numbers real quick to your question. I just did a little division there. It was 5.05% if you divide the income into that number. So 5.05%.
On an annual basis or total?
That's just based, that's the total.
That's what I want to talk about, because what happens is annually it's 2.5%, and that's what well, it doesn't change. It doesn't change anything. So,
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on. Thanks, Andy. Thank you. We'll do the NEMSCA. Kim?
That would be me. NEMSCA right now, or for Region 9 meetings, we're on every other one, you know, through the summer. So our next meeting is in July, and we're going to be visiting the PACE facility. So we're actually having our meeting there. So that'll be really interesting to see what's going on, and I'll report back after I've been there. On the other side of my duties as a used to be a math counselor, that was the Michigan Medicare Assistance Program has now been changed. Region 9 did continue their contract to be able to provide these services to all of our clients and all the COAs, but it's now called SHIP Counselor. So in addition to assisting with Medicare people coming on board as they reach 65, we also help review everyone's plans and drug plans and all of that. We have that availability, or I do. We will also have resources for long-term care. That's part of the new program that somebody's going to be available to discuss long-term care for individuals going forward. I may not be the counselor specifically for that, but Region 9 will have the resource for that. So those are all exciting things. I tend to be more busy with the Medicare parts towards October when it's the re-enrollment time and that, but I do get questions throughout the year or new people that are turning 65 and starting. So I want to be able, when we move into the new building, to make sure that we, in our publication or advertising, remember to let the public know that we that I'm there and offer that. So that's it.
Thank you.
I had a question. That PACE, just so everybody knows, that's the Program for All-Inclusive Care for the Elderly. It's in the Big Lots building up in Alpena.
Correct.
When do they think they'll be open? I had heard late summer earlier. Has it changed?
And as I said, we're actually having our meeting there. So I imagine they're probably getting ready. I don't know.
That's right. I thought that was the director. He said late summer, early fall.
Yeah. I'll have a better idea next week.
Okay. Thank you. Carolyn,
Good morning.
morning.
I'm passing out a little packet for each of you. It is the county fair schedule. Behind that, or inside of that actually, is a scramble for students. It's a golf tournament raising money for the training or teaching, if you will, of the more senior students to help better communicate with the younger kids. And it allows for talking about drugs, talking about things that younger kids need to hear from what is much closer to their peers than mom and dad are. Behind that is a picture that spells out Harrisville, and that is going to be on the wall of the county building. If you are standing at the lower parking level and you look over, it's the blue wall that is there, and it won't be blue anymore. Well, the background of it will be blue, but that's all. So then in addition to that, our treasurer is going to be leaving August 1st, and our prosecuting attorney is going to be leaving September 1st. The new treasurer has been named. It is Sheila Scott. She is the deputy treasurer currently, and Monday, just yesterday, the group that decides who it's going to be is comprised of the prosecuting attorney, the clerk, and the judge. So they held a public meeting at that time yesterday at 11, and their decision was to name Sheila to take over as the treasurer. Prosecuting attorney position is determined by the judge by the chief circuit court, which is Judge Wolbach, who basically works out of Tawas, but we are in that circuit. And it is my understanding that he is turning to Judge Crowley to get her thoughts on it. That's who the prosecuting attorney will work most closely with, and almost exclusively that judge. And so they will be able to, she will be basically recommending who she would think that, or would hope that the judge would make. In addition to that, we have actually, I thought I had one more thing, but I do not. So unless there's questions, that pretty much.
I have a question. Is Alcona Review funding this mural? Because that's kind of a nice plug. I'd like to have my business on a mural. That's hilarious.
Well, the Arts Council got a grant and they are taking care of, they've hired someone to do it. This is the artist's vision. And I personally didn't, I mean, it's going to be lovely, I'm sure. But there are things about it that I
mean, I bet MSU Extension would have liked to have their name up there.
Yeah, you just sort of, I struggle putting Harrisville on a county building. It belongs to the county, not Harrisville. Right, right.
We're just being informed. We have no right as a body to have an opinion on this matter, right?
I didn't as a commissioner. I said I didn't as a commissioner. I lost. Best thing I think we can do is just when it's all done, say, "Isn't that lovely?"
Okay. Is that all you have, Carol?
That's all I got.
Thank you. Move on to executive director's report.
I don't have a whole lot, but I have something that's pretty exciting. We were nominated by Consumers and Energy by Rich Castle, and we spent there at the board meetings to receive a E-ban for our home delivered meals. So we're in the process of getting that. Bill and I and Patty met with the company that will be supplying the van and the electricians that will be hooking up the charging station. I think the meeting went really well. They answered a lot of questions, because we had a lot of questions of how things were going to work, how long it lasted, and what the cost was. So it's pretty exciting. So we're getting it for free. Our next step now is to decide what we want on it, logo wise. We can put a small logo, we can put a wrap, we can do whatever we want on it. So we just kind of have to decide. So if anybody has any ideas or something that you might think we should put on it, I'm just going to kind of compile stuff so that I can give them that information. It's being made, so we won't get it until probably after the first of the year. So that's very exciting. So, the next thing is we're in the process of doing some interviewing. We're short kitchen staff. One of them retired. And then we are down a couple DCW workers, and I also have a DCW worker that's on medical leave, so we're really down like 3 workers right now. So we're in the process of trying to get some DCW workers hired. For the meal in May, we started to do about 2,451 meals and 346 hired yet. And then this is just a miscellaneous stuff. Thanks to Laura, we've got the whole attic cleaned out, the highest up level, that's all cleaned out. The next step down up here, Ron's been working on that. That's pretty good. The doors hauled down some more stuff out of there. Some of our record storage stuff has already been moved over. We do have a lot of stuff boxed up downstairs that we can start moving. That's about it for right now.
I got a couple questions. It's the direct care workers. That's a challenge. Always keeping those positions filled, right? That's just.
And not just us. I mean, like any of the meetings that I go to, or quarterly council meeting, I mean, every COA is just having a rough time.
I hope somebody took a picture of that attic before you emptied it out. Because I don't think people would,
I should have.
it's good to remember that kind of stuff, what that looked like.
50 years worth of stuff. I swear everything that was broke down that they didn't use anymore, they didn't throw it away. They just hauled it all the way up to the end.
Yeah, that was bad. Okay. So we have treasurer's report.
I have a
Oh,
question.
wait a minute, go ahead.
Real quick, I spoke to you about giving the director workers that we've got, give them extra time. Did you have a chance to check that out? To give them more hours, I should say.
Offer all the time and
Okay. Okay.
they don't want more hours.
I was curious about.
I mean, we tried. I mean, if they lose a client or something, we try to fill it in. Most of them work 4 days a week or less, and trying to get them to some hours is.
The one particular lady that I talked to, you talked to her. Okay, good, thank you.
I'll add something, and to add on to that, when we redid the employee handbook, we bumped up how many hours somebody needs to work to get benefits. So we tried to address that, making people have to work more hours. So it's already done as far as what we can do.
Yes. Staff wise, it's attendance is my huge issue, and it's putting a burden onto the people that come to work every day because we're working 10 and 12 hours. Well, I have people that are calling in a couple of days a week. So it came down where, I just put my foot down and people are starting to get rid up. I can't, and I told them, we can't function with 5 people in an office in that new building. I mean, and this just isn't about me, but I'm doing everybody else's job. Patty's doing everybody else's job because they're not going to work. And then our stuff is getting put up there. So that's my biggest issue. But I will say, I think with this new building, I am getting people bringing resumes in, dropping, coming in, filling out applications. You can just be one of a young girl that's here for the summer, just staying with her grandparents and would love to come in and do some work. So, I'm getting people I think are getting excited, So,
Thank you.
I think they want to be part of the new community center. So,
Okay. Thank you. Move on to treasurer's report. Thank you. Give me a motion. I have a motion and a second. Motion by Ty, seconded by Leroy, to accept treasurer's report subject to audit as presented. Roll call, please.
Lynch, Pinder, Damon,
Yes.
McKinnon,
Yes.
Potter,
Yes.
Schlicker,
Yes.
Turek, yes, Von Fittel.
Yes.
Can I add one thing also? We have yet to get our millage check this year. I think when we checked a year or so ago, they had until the end of June. It's always come earlier. I hadn't, but I have a source in the commissioner's office who said it might be coming in a day or two.
Okay, good. Good. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to secretary's report. Bob, do you have anything?
I do not.
Okay. Committee report.
We had a brief finance committee meeting a couple weeks ago. The main thing, first of all, I will say that Wendy and her team did a great job of making the money last, as some unexpected expenditures came up this last year, and she did not require any budget changes requested or required. So I think that's quite a testament. We talked about the finances, how much money Wendy and her team can spend to run the open house and dedication ceremony. And we put forth an amount there, and we itemized it, breaking it down in this category. So we were going to make a recommendation to the board that they approve up to $2,500 to have the open house dedication ceremony. I'll make that motion.
Motion by Terry, seconded by Ty. Payment to set the amount at $2,500 for the open house expenditures. Roll call, please.
Who's gonna do that? Who's in charge of that? Wendy.
Roll call, please.
Schlicker,
Yes.
Potter,
Yes.
Lynch, Damon,
Yes.
Pinder, McKinnon,
Yes.
Turek, yes, Von Fittel.
Yes.
Motion carried.
We also had further discussion requesting some more information from Andy that we're needing. So Ty and I kind of drafted a letter and sent it to Andy. Hasn't replied yet. And we, as Kevin said, and I brought up in finance committee meeting, that we had initially CDs and then we moved into something else because it was better. Well, the CD interest rates are coming back up. So once we get our millage check, we need to decide whether that's what we want to do. There's some 90-day CDs that we can stagger them so that as the millage funds get drawn down, we're mature, CDs are maturing. So the finance committee didn't really make a recommendation on that. Maybe we can right now as to if that's what we want to do. Once we get the millage funds, put them in CDs. At that time, it was 4.3%. I asked him yesterday, it's about the same, 4.3% for a 90-day CD. Yeah, so whatever's not in a CD in 4.3 might be sitting over there still making 1%, which is better than nothing. So I guess I would say if the board wants to make that recommendation that we move appropriate amounts into CDs, we could do that now, or we can do it in a finance committee and come back and make a recommendation in the next month, or we can do it right now.
I'd like to do it right now due to the fact that we have a whole board. That way, we don't have to bring it back. We can do it. Yeah.
Right, so it just needs to make a motion.
Make a motion.
Ty did.
Type in.
I don't know how to word it exactly.
I would say I would make a recommendation or motion that the finance committee is authorized to invest millage funds in CDs, a short-term basis, on a staggered basis for the millage funds exclusively.
Okay.
Can that be changed like 6 months from now if we wanted to?
Yes.
Motion by Terry to move the millage funds into CDs that is appropriate for this board that we voted on a short-term basis. So, yeah, seconded by McKinnon. Roll call.
That would be McKinnon,
Yes.
David, Pinder, Lynch,
Yeah.
Potter,
Yes.
Schlicker,
Yes.
Bonfitto,
Yes.
Turek, yes. And that was it for the
That's it?
finance committee meeting.
That's what you have? Is that all you have?
That's all I had for that.
Okay. Unfinished business. Unapproved minutes.
Before we get to that, the committee report, I don't even have I'm wondering what committees I'm even on.
They're down in the office. I thought everybody was notified.
I don't know. I never got one.
I'll get one from. I'll have
Okay.
When you stop and grab one from when you stop.
Okay.
Okay. We have unapproved minutes.
So as I said last meeting, when I was going through all the minutes and trying to get them on the website and cleaned up, I realized that there were not minutes for a certain meeting back in January of 2023. Spoke to the lawyer. He said, make up minutes based upon the video, present them to the board to be approved. Last month, I talked about this. Dolores was going to check to see if by chance she had them. She didn't. They were never written up. There was a turnover in the secretary. They were never presented to the board. So they're the last 2 pages. It's our meeting January of 2023. We need to officially approve those.
That was when the secretary got up and walked out? Is that when that meeting was?
No, it was the special board meeting of January 19th. And then what was presented to us at the regular board meeting of January 24th was the November meeting to approve. And then there was its December special meeting, but she never wrote this up. So it never got presented and I didn't catch it until just recently when I took over. So it's not optimum. I mean, it's after the statute of limitations where somebody could pursue us for an open meeting violation or something. We need to approve these minutes. So I would make a motion that we approve the board meeting minutes of January 19th, 23 as presented.
I'll second.
Motion by Terry, seconded by Dolores to accept the minutes of the January 19th, 2023 minutes that were never put in, never recorded. All in favor?
Aye.
I'm abstaining.
Yes. One abstention. Oh, any objections? Approved. Dedication ceremony on unfinished business. I think we talked about that.
I think we took care of that.
We took care of that by moving everything. Status of funds remaining to finish the new building project.
This was the motion I made last meeting that we need to get a little subgroup together, give with Andy and just get to the bottom of where we are. Bob and I wrote to Andy said, hey, we're on the 90, we're on the 1 yard line. Let's see where we're at. We don't have that back yet. So this just remains open topic. But we've got to decide who's taking lead on that. Lori had raised her hand at the last meeting to be involved in that. She said she's got a lot of experience working with Jim nursing, but I just think we need to give that subcommittee a deadline 2 weeks from now. We need a report.
I would, Bob,
board.
I would like to be
I
involved
wasn't on
in
that,
that
so
if possible.
I think it was Morris, Lori, and I don't remember that. Is that you and I? Yeah.
This is Phil, me, Lee, and it was Mike.
And we added more.
Okay.
Let's see.
Okay, so we'll wait for that from Andy. How would you do? We'll move on to new business, nomination committee formation.
So according to our bylaws, by the June meeting every year, a nominating committee needs to be appointed to run the election that's upcoming. Every year, there's 3 positions that are up for re-election. There are no vacancies, but 3 positions come up. It'll be Ty's position is up for re-election, Kelly Von Fintel's position, and my position. So a nomination committee needs to be formed in order to take in anybody who applies, resumes, make sure that's put in the paper, and then actually run the election. The only problem is the nominating committee can't be appointed according to Robert's Rules of Order. It has to be elected, but it's the only committee that can't be appointed by the president. And they do that so that there can be no hint of any kind of bias as to who he appoints. So we need to elect a nominating committee to run the election. Like I said, Ty, me, and Kelly, our positions are up, so we should not be on that board, that committee. Sorry, Pam. And Phil is a ex officio member of every committee, so it comes down to Lori, Dolores, Pam, Leroy, or Ralph.
Does this have to be a board member to be on this committee? Or can it be a member of the public?
I'd have to look.
Isn't the
Our,
same?
our bylaws may specify it, but in general, it doesn't have to.
It says at the June meeting of the board, the president shall appoint a nominating committee of 3 persons from the board or participating members to recruit candidates for the board of directors. The nominating committee shall prepare and present a provisional slate of board candidates to the participating membership by posting a notice at each customary service site, by presenting the notice on the record at the August meeting. So really, between now and August, the nominating committee collects who wants to run for these 3 positions and then presents it to the board at the August meeting as a slate, and then it gets put on an official ballot. The voting starts in September. So the way I read that, it doesn't have to be board members. It can be board members or participating members. But the problem is it's got to be done by now at this meeting, by the June meeting, it's got to be done. And it can't be appointed. It's got to be an elected board, elected committee.
Who elects you? Who elects them?
We do.
We do.
So I could say something like do it individually or as a group. I know there's 2 people on this board who have been through many elections, Dolores and Rowland. They've probably forgotten more than we know.
Yeah.
I would like to suggest Dolores, Rowland, and Lori form the nominating committee.
Can we nominate Lori when she's not here to accept the nomination?
And if she has an objection, she'll object. Yeah.
I would second that.
Okay, motion by Ty to appoint Dolores, Rowland, and Lori to the nominating committee. Second by Pam. Yeah, I know. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, and now we have more new business is possible application for a letter of credit.
So my thinking there is, I hope that Andy comes into the finish line with $1 to spare. But that is not likely. And I think it's prudent on our part to just investigate, give a letter of credit, that process, applications, that kind of stuff. I assume it takes a couple of weeks. So it doesn't cost anything. I don't know if it's Ron who does it, or Wendy, I'm not opposing that. But we just go out to AAA and Northern and 2 or 3 local places and say, we want a letter of credit of $500,000. How would that work? We're not approving spending that money. We're just getting the process started so that if something happened, we weren't in danger. And to have that out there, what if the ice storm, destroyed something that insurance didn't cover, and all of a sudden we had a huge expense. Now we have this giant asset that's can be used as collateral, and that's a wonderful thing to have. And again, this isn't improvement spending. This isn't negative thinking. It's just prudent to have this in our back pocket.
Totally agree.
Did she make?
I make a motion. You want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to ask Robin / Wendy, I don't know if it's the right person that does the motion, the proper representative from the ACCOA to reach out to at least 3 local lenders for a $500,000 line of credit to have that.
Bob, did that mean you to reach out?
I was going to make a friendly amendment and make Ty that point person.
Sure.
Okay. So we have a. Oh, I make a motion to appoint Ty to reach out to financial institutions, possibly 3 or 4, to just set up application for credit. I think that has to deal with money, so I think we should do a roll call.
Not spending any money, we're just authorizing.
We have discussion before we go.
We can discuss it, yes.
Because I think Carolyn's got it.
Okay.
Let's have discussion.
I was asked if a roll call was really necessary, and my response was that I might not, but the chairman, the president has spoken that there would be a roll call because it was money, which I certainly would yield to.
Turek, yes. Von Tintel,
Yes.
Flicker,
Yes.
Potter,
Yes.
McKinnon, David, Pinder, Lynch.
No. Okay. Motion carried.
I have another question before we get the public comment. I probably should have asked it in unfinished business, but what was decided on the generator? Does it go with the building, or is it going to
Nothing's
be
been decided on
donated?
yet.
Or
Nothing that I'm
nothing?
aware of has been decided.
Okay,
We're still issuing that.
okay. My second question is, we've been in this building 6 months since Brad bought it. Brad,
Can we bring that up? Additional comments?
okay,
Can you do that for me?
yep, I will.
Okay, we're going to bring that up on additional comments and concerns because it's not on the agenda. We have to move to public comment now. So you have limited 2 minutes per person. Please give your name and township if you'd like to address the board on any issues that you have.
Jim Fleming, Elkhorn Township, CCOA. I just had a comment. I hope that a representative portion of you would be also doing an inspection, if you will, before our scheduled dedication ceremony. As to, I know the mechanical and all those electrical inspections, plumbing, all those things are hopefully going to be approved, and the kitchen will be open and all of that. But before we invite the public in there, is there touch-up painting? Is there stuff like that? I think that the first impression of the public is important. I think it would be severely detrimental to invite the public into an unfinished looking space. So that's just my comment.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to address the board? Okay, we'll close the public comment. We'll move to director's additional comments and concerns, and that where Dolores has.
Yes, like I said, we've been in this building 6 months now since Brad bought it. So therefore, Brad has been losing 6 months worth of income. He plans to have furniture up here, and in the downstairs, he's going to have appliances to sell. I know he's got the store there, but he needs the additional space. I would like to suggest, the bus that's sitting out there, not being used, we're paying insurance on it. I would like to suggest that being Brad was interested in the bus, that we just sell it to him at rock bottom price, just to not only get rid of that, but to show our gratitude for him allowing us to be in this building for 6 months more than what we were supposed to. And that could end up being 7 months.
So for your information, just so everybody knows, we did take the interest from the money that Brad paid us.
Right.
We did take that. I hand delivered a check for $1,500 to
Right.
him, and he said absolutely not. He didn't want to take it. I said, no, you have to take it. This is presented to you as gratitude for us being in the building. He said, I wish you wouldn't do this. And I said, we did it. Here is the check. I shook his hand. I said, no hard feelings. I don't want no. He said, absolutely not. He didn't want to take it, but he took it anyway. So under good gracious, he took the check, and he did
Right.
say thank you. So,
And he has said that to me several times.
yep. So,
But that the bus is just sitting there, not doing anything. And we're paying money to have it sitting there. I mean, it's just an idea. If we agree to it, fine. If we don't, that's fine too.
yeah,
But
I'd like to see it, put more advertisement out on it, and if he's still interested, have him give us an offer. I mean, it's been, Carolyn, you haven't.
I was asked earlier when we began
Carolyn,
about
could you
tickets
speak up?
for the concert, and I do have the location for them. They can be purchased at the library in Harrisville, at Richards Repair, White Barn Gardens, Lincoln Outdoor Center, and Eagle Ridge Golf Course in Glen.
And that was tickets for what?
The concert.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yours, does that answer your question about that? We can put it out for advertisement if Brad's interested.
We've already done that,
But
whatever.
has anything been submitted in writing to us? I don't believe it has.
No,
but,
no.
Okay.
And I don't think, because we were asking more than what he's wanting to pay. His daughter is wanting to pay. She can't afford what we were asking.
Okay.
So it's just an idea. I mean,
I didn't know we had a price on it.
I thought we'd get around 15 grand or so. So I'm even willing to drive it down to an auction. Me and Andy was willing to drive down to an auction. I think so. And that's why we wanted to drive it down and possibly auction it off. But I never got around to it.
About the
I didn't want.
are we talking the yellow bus or the other bus?
No,
the van.
I move we put an ad in the paper that we're having a sealed bid auction. The high bidder gets it. If it's $1, it's $1. If it's $1,000, it's $1,000. But on a given day, we're gonna open a bunch of envelopes and the bus disappears and we get one.
I would add to that I think it has to be in there. The board has the right to accept or reject any and all offers.
Sure.
I would not want that bus to go for grand.
Okay.
I mean,
That's
I understand lowballing around 10 grand, or 11, but somebody comes in at $10 and they're the only bidder. No, I don't feel comfortable with.
I take back.
Right. Yeah.
We put an ad in the paper, we're taking sealed bids by a certain date. The board accepts the right to reject anything, and we should have a backup plan, which is it gets on a trailer and goes to some auction in Flint, we know we're gonna get $700. So we're not debating the number. If we get $1 more than somebody comes and picks it up and drives it away, then we accept it.
Okay.
Well, we know it can be taken down somewhere and got for an auction.
Exactly.
We know that. And in my opinion, we've essentially done that. We've been advertising it in the past. I'm debating whether it's just time to just take Phil up on his offer, drive it downstate. I'll go with him, buy us Burger King for lunch, and get rid of it once and for all, and bypass advertising.
Motion it's seconded. I tracked it, and I think we should keep it.
Okay. So you want to remake that motion? You want to make that motion?
I have a feeling we've already done it in the past. I don't have all the minutes, and we've already authorized that vehicle to be disposed of in the best manner.
Let's follow.
I had a couple other comments.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to address the member of the public. Ty made a huge letter of all the things that he would like to see, ideas for decorating or making sure that the building had a certain ambiance. He got with Andy, and there's Andy said that's already taken care of. He has plans. So, but he definitely has ideas, and they're very good ideas. What gets done, I guess remains to be seen.
I backed off because I want to make sure the electricity works on July 9th and not be hard to go through. So I told Andy, backing off, and it wasn't me, it would be a committee. I told Andy, backing off until certificate of occupancy, then we're going to rebuild it. And, of course, we want to place it look nice. But, you're not putting together a whole new plan, getting it all done, getting stuff framed, in the next 20 days. Your point was about to make sure it's convenient.
Best impression possible.
Absolutely.
Do you know what this plan was?
I do not.
Okay,
It was.
so he's here to be. So what he had mentioned to me was he worked with people at the school and getting some of the kids arts to make it more the year. And I'm not saying it's going to be an epic long or anything like that. That's part of it.
My thinking was, it's too late to have a new, well thought out plan, vetted by the community, vetted by the board, get open. All we're talking about is patching one nail hole. But the example I used is we did some community encounter for the Lions. I got over 150 beautiful nature photos of Alcona County. We picked 13 last year. It takes me 2 seconds to send an email to all those people and say, hey, sorry you get encountered. Want to be in the walls? But that's lovely, but not urgent. We need to make sure that we're serving meals the day after occupancy. So this is something I have a passion for, but I'm backing off. Let's get internet in houses. Let's get meals being made. But this is a topic.
I'm online and I'm not paying down to the specific artwork,
But again, when you're looking to 10% and asking to come in for memberships, obviously you want the best overall impression possible. I hope that you get
So there again.
another question, you know, why is it?
So there again. So there again, when you're that, I mentioned to Wendy that we got to get in it first. We walk in and we see it. We might say, the public might say, beautiful. We love it.
I know it will.
But when we get in there, it's a nail hole we have to patch. I mean, there's no sleepover what he's going to hang up right now. It's just, I mean, we need to get in and get meals going. And we need for the seniors to get the houses done. That is a big thing right now to me. So,
I had one other comment. I thought it was great that we had our renters, our community, come together and say, we've got this problem. It's not great that they have the problems, but I mean, it's great that they came. My only concern is the proper channel. Should they come to Andy when he's gone? Should they come to the board? Should they be coming to Sarah Jane, who is our property manager? So I just want to make sure that nobody get their toes stepped on and they think we're dealing with something when maybe it should be Sarah Jane doing it.
so I did, so the board knows, I did talk to Fran, and we have reached out to Sarah. And so Sarah said, you know, this is the issue. They decided to come to the board. I was told Fran I was going to address it today to same issues that they talked about, but they were here, so I let them talk.
Yeah,
about it.
perfect.
So,
I mean, they have every right to come and make comments
yes.
every time. Yeah,
I
I just want to
we
make
did
sure.
reach out to Sarah, so she did know about it, and they reached out to Andy, and now they're here. So now we know about it too. So we have to act to get that taken.
Yeah, I mean, what are we going to do when Andy is no more? I mean, well, who will they go
It'll be
to?
Sarah to our board.
You know, it's growing pains early. There was no reason to not respect our first renters with, 15-minute sidebar. But, down the road, yeah, Sarah Jane has what she's been doing.
Right.
But I am concerned if they were not told that those residences did not have internet. And I thought I heard somebody say that he had no idea that there wasn't going to be internet, or this gentleman. So that I'm concerned if there was a lack of communication, that they thought they were going into a fully staffed resident. Well, then do we have some obligation to rebate their rent, to rebate their expenditures? If they were not led to believe that if they were led to believe it was done and it wasn't.
They can ask Sarah if she has a contract that she might have to explain it to them that this, and this. And they checked it, they signed it.
All right.
And then if she has all that, she explained all that, and they didn't understand that, then she did notify them. But if not, then I feel we have.
I think they,
I don't think it's proper for us to debate this at a board meeting.
Okay.
One, the issue is not that there's not internet. There's not internet today.
Right.
Because, oh my God, a big company didn't do something at the time like they said they would. Surprise. So we got to get on it. If it gets fixed today, it's one issue. If it's still not fixed a month from now, it's another issue. But again, it's Sarah Jane. What if it's 2 months from now, Sarah Jane comes to us and says, I got good news, I got bad news. 6 of them are working, 2 aren't. But that's,
Okay. Yeah, we're good. Okay. We can get that taken care of.
Is this something that you could bring up with Sarah about this gentleman that been paying rent
Yes.
for 2 months,
3 months.
Yes.
3 months or
Right.
whatever, and he can't move in?
Well,
So why did we charge him rent?
someone will bring up with Sarah.
let's just get it fixed and let the tenants go to Sarah Jane, and then Sarah Jane comes back.
Right.
Because even with Vincent, it's Andy on the internet. The landline could be totally them independent. Could have nothing to do with it. We don't know. We're gonna test them on both. But we need to do a little bit more before we decide.
And that's,
Okay.
you're gonna be in on that. Good,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, no more comments, Director? We will,
What about our gym equipment? Can we start selling that? Or do we want to wait till the last minute
I
and
know,
then try to figure out how to get rid
I
of it?
know there's Bowflex, or I know the rowing machine, and I know all the equipment over there except for one Bowflex, the kick bag, the heavy bag, the balls, the weights, the mats here. I know those are going there. But
To
I
the new
think
building?
yes, I think the rest of it is going to be up for sealed bids.
Didn't our last meeting, he said we're not taking any of this equipment.
Some of the gentlemen and ladies that use it, there is no Bowflex. They use it every day. The rowing machine they use every day. One of the gentlemen that walk in here, he uses a
I
heavy bag
understand that,
every
but
day.
at our last meeting,
That was
I
our last-
asked
yep.
about that, and they said we're not taking any of
We
it.
are,
The people requested it.
So we are gonna take
yes,
it
we are
then.
taking
Good.
one Bowflex. We are taking the rowing machine, and we're taking the heavy bag and all individual apparatuses over there and the mats. Protect our floors.
Good. And
Okay.
we're gonna sell the rest.
I think we'd have to compare one of those Bowflexes. There's one up there. What's the best one to take? Or,
Right.
make sure we take one that isn't broken.
Take the best one. Okay, so now the board will enter into a closed session to discuss these privileged and confidential correspondence from our legal counsel. I need a motion to go into closed session.
We all three made the motion.
Okay. Who seconded?
I made the motion. I second. Or I made it and I second. Either way you want to do
Okay,
it.
Ty, we
Leroy
have a motion on the floor to go into closed session at 11:38, seconded by Leroy. All in roll call, please.
Franny,
Lynch,
Roll call.
Lynch, Hinder, Damon, McKinnon,
yes.
Potter,
Yes.
Schlicker,
Yes.
Turek, yes. Von Fintel.
Okay, motion carried. Go into closed session. Thank you, Jeff. Let's move the table to the closer so we don't have to yell.
What's that?